Welcome to Rest and Restore. Tonight, let's start in a wide-legged forward fold. And some options for the shape. If you'd like to sit up onto a pillow or blanket, you can set that up and either sit onto your mat, onto your prop. And then options for the shape. You can either take both legs out, or you can start with one leg instead and just bend into the other leg. And it's up to you, whichever leg feels more intuitive for you to start with. And then whichever option you're taking, just shifting a little from side to side. Maybe start to notice sensations through the hips and through the legs. You might like to point and flex the feet a few times, or the one foot that's extended. And then if you are taking the forward fold with both legs out, you can either fold forward, or you can also take a twist and turn and fold over one leg. And again, whichever leg feels more intuitive for you to start with. So begin by sitting up tall, either hinging forward or twisting and turning towards one leg, and then start to fold over the leg. Hands can rest onto the mat in front of you. They can rest onto legs. You can rest them onto a prop. You can also tuck a block, a pillow, or rolled up towel underneath the knees if that feels more useful for you. And wherever you are, begin to connect with the breath. And just starting with the spine long, keep sending the heart forward. And we'll hold here for this first minute. And then we'll begin to round through the spine. So just taking this first moment to connect with the breath. Noticing how you're breathing. What's the quality of your breath right now? Maybe noticing the length of the breath. Maybe noticing the depth of the breath. Noticing the quality, whether it's smooth or choppy. Maybe noticing where in the body you're breathing into. And just inviting the body to soften and relax. And just a couple of breaths more. And then slowly start to round through the spine. Stretch across the back. Lower the head down. You can rest it onto a prop, onto the leg, and staying connected with the breath. We'll be here for 2 more minutes. And if you've got the forward fold at center, staying where you are, if you fold it over one leg, you can slowly make your way back up to switch sides. So if the other leg isn't extended, extending the other leg out and sitting up tall, start to turn towards the other leg and slowly start to hinge at the hips, sending the heart towards the toes. And we'll stay here for the first minute. Lifting up through the crown of the head. Keep the back of the neck long. Maybe notice if you can fold forward just a little more. Softening the belly. Soften shoulders. Relax the muscles in the face. Just inviting the whole body to relax. And then let's begin to round the spine, tucking the chin in towards the chest. Stretch across the whole back body. And we're here for 2 more minutes. And then let's slowly make our way back up to a seat. Maybe leaning back, extending any leg if one leg was bent. And just maybe roll the legs a few times. Or you can bend the knees and just windshield wiper legs. Just take a moment here to reset. And then we'll set up for our next pose. The next pose we'll take is child's pose. So options here for child's pose. You can take a blanket across your mat if you'd like a bit of cushioning for knees. If you'd like to rest your body onto a pillow or bolster, you can take that lengthwise along the mat. You can also create a bit of an incline with your prop, like maybe tucking a block tucking a few blankets or towels underneath one side, and then you can lay onto your prop in a more inclined shape. Having any additional props that you might like to use to support you in your pose. And just begin to make your way into tabletop and just hovering over top of your prop. Start to slide the knees out, taking the toes together, sitting the hips back. And then slowly start to lower down onto your prop. Option to turn the head towards one side, or you can just rest the chin onto your prop. You can just let the head hang over. If you have your head turned to one direction, I'll cue you halfway through so you can switch sides. Adding any additional props to your shape, and then slowly just letting go of any final movements. Coming to stillness. And we're holding here for a total of 4 minutes. So if your head is turned to one side, I'll cue you halfway through to switch sides. Maybe doing a little bit of a body scan here. Noticing the sensations that are happening in the body right now. And just noticing what comes up for you. Any sensations of tension or tightness. Can you invite those muscles to soften and relax? Maybe noticing how you're breathing in this shape. Can you breathe into the belly and fill up the whole belly? Breathe into the ribs. Fill up into the spaces between the ribs. Breathe into the back body. Really fill up the whole body with breath. And soften a little more with each exhale. And if you have your head turned to one side, take this moment to switch. And then slowly take your time, using the help of your hands. Make your way out of your pose. Maybe sliding the props out from underneath you. You can make your way into a tabletop, maybe a couple of rounds of cat-cow, or maybe laying on your belly and extending the legs out along the mat. Just taking a moment here to reset. And if you are on your belly, stay where you are. And if you're in another shape, slowly come to lay down onto your belly. You can use a pillow or a folded blanket to rest the upper body onto. You're taking a pillow or bolster across your mat. And then you can either fold the arms, stack the hands, rest the chin onto hands, or maybe you like to take a Sphinx pose. You can take forearms onto your pillow. You can reach them further forward and just take a few breaths here. Just allowing the whole front of the body to get a little bit of stretch. And then we'll set up into a shoulder stretch. You can use a pillow to rest the head onto. You can rest the head directly on the mat. Still on our bellies. Let's turn to lay onto the left side of the head and take the arms out wide into a T. Bend into the right arm. Take the hand towards the chest. And then slowly start to roll onto your left side, tucking the knees up in towards you. And just start to notice the sensations across the front of the left shoulder. You can decide to make any adjustments here to the stretch. You can walk the hand higher, maybe walk it a little lower than shoulder height. You can even bend into the elbow, taking the arm into a cactus shape, finding the stretch that feels most useful to you. And then option to stay where you are with knees tucked in, right hand resting in front of you. You can tuck a pillow between the legs. You can set a pillow underneath the legs. Another option for legs, you can extend them straight along the mat. You can stack the feet or stagger the feet. You can also bend into the right knee. Set the right foot onto the mat, keeping the right hand in front of you, or option to tuck the arm behind the waist. And wherever you are, we'll hold here for 3 more minutes. Maybe taking this next moment just to count the breath. And just using a count that feels natural and easeful for you, whatever count that may be. You can focus on evening out the inhale or exhale, or even just counting the breath naturally. Maybe the breath is uneven, and that's okay too. And just taking the time to notice what's happening. And if you are counting the breath, and if you did notice the breath was uneven, take this next minute to even out the breath, using the same count for the inhale and exhale, whatever count that may be for you today. And if you are counting the breath, just let go of the counting and begin to notice the breath once again. Maybe noticing if anything has changed with the breath from when you first started your practice. Maybe the breath now feels a little smoother. Maybe it feels a little easier. Maybe noticing where in the body you're breathing into. Maybe noticing if it's changed or shifted. And then slowly make your way out of your shape. Slowly start to roll back onto your belly. You can bend into the elbows, stack the hands, rest the forehead onto hands, rest the chin onto hands. Just a moment here to reset before going to the other side. Maybe even take a moment to notice how the left and right arms feel. Noticing the sensations through the shoulders. Again, noticing any differences. Maybe noticing similarities. And just taking this time to really tune into your awareness. And then setting up for our shoulder stretch on the other side. Taking arms out wide into a T with the palms face down. And laying onto the right side of the head. Bending into the left elbow. Taking the hand in towards you. Begin to roll onto your right side. Tucking the knees up. Resting the left hand in front of you. Sending your awareness to the front of that right shoulder. Deciding if you'd like to make some adjustments to your stretch. Walking the hand higher or lower. Or maybe bending the elbow and taking the arm into cactus shape. And once you've found a stretch that feels useful to you, deciding here if this is where you want to stay, maybe adding some props to help support you in your shape, or option if you like, extending the legs out along the mat, stacking the feet or staggering the feet. Another option, you can bend into the left knee, sole of the left foot behind the right leg. Left hand can stay in front of you, or you can tuck it behind the waist. And once you've found your shape, we'll be holding once again for 3 minutes. Again, taking this time, you can either start where you left off with the breath, maybe working on lengthening the exhale, adding a count to the exhale, and then slowly adding additional counts. You can also start from the beginning, just naturally counting the breath, noticing if the breath feels uneven, and then maybe working towards evening out the breath. And slowly take your time. Make your way out of your pose. Listening to your body, noticing if it's craving a counter pose or a counter movement. Maybe you'd like to just lay on your belly a little longer. Maybe you'd like to lay on your side or on your back. Again, maybe some cat-cows might feel useful. So just taking this next moment just to allow the body to acclimate, allow it to remember the work. And then let's set up into our next pose. The next pose we'll take is a little bit of a heart opener and some options for props. You can lay over top of a bolster or pillow, and then this will be just a little bit more gentle with the opening of the chest and just letting the arms out wide. Another option for prop, you might like to create a roll with a towel, like a large beach towel, or create a roll with a blanket. And if you've created a roll with the blanket, you can decide how large, how thick the roll is, and then you'll take that lengthwise along your mat. So just taking a moment to decide how you'd like to support yourself in this shape. And then sitting with your back towards your prop. Slowly start to lower down. And you can decide here if your sacrum or hips is resting on the prop. You might like to try shifting them off of the prop, or maybe you're feeling really supported with them on the prop. And just decide which way feels more useful to you. And then allow the arms to stretch out. You can take them into a T, take them into cactus shape, or extend them up towards a V shape. You can keep knees bent, soles of the feet on the mat. You can extend the legs out towards straight. You can also bend the knees, take soles of the feet together, and let the knees fall out to either side. So just taking your time, finding what feels most relaxing and restful for you. And just settling here into stillness. And again, some options for breath work. Let's take this next moment just to even out the breath. Whatever count feels right for you. And then with the next minute, add a count to both your inhale and exhale, just to deepen the breath. And for this next minute, add a pause between the inhale and exhale. And it's just a brief pause before you start to exhale. And just continuing with the count that you left off with. And then for this next minute, can you add a count to the pause? Just slowly start to lengthen the pause between your inhale and exhale. And one last time, with this next minute, add one more count to your pause. And then just letting go of the counting. Allow your breath to be natural. And then let's slowly start to roll towards one side, making your way off of your prop. And then just moving your prop away, make your way up to a seat. And we'll set up for our next pose. The next pose we'll take is a side lying position. Some options for props. If you'd like a little bit of support for your side bend, then having maybe a pillow, or maybe having two pillows, or a pillow and a folded or rolled up blanket. And then setting up your pillow for your head. And if you've decided to add something for your side bend, then just having that so that there's a space between your pillow and your prop so that you can extend the arm along. So let's start, or just come to lie on the side that feels most intuitive for you. And then just extend the bottom arm out. You can take a moment to adjust your props if you're laying on some props. Top arm, and just send it alongside the bottom arm. And then let's begin to sweep the top arm up. Take it alongside the ear. And then with the top leg, start to send the top leg back any amount. And then maybe begin to notice this connection across the right side or left side body. Maybe extend out through that top knee, reach out through those top fingers, and just finding this stretch all across the side. And slowly begin to restack the legs. Top arm can stay resting alongside the ear, or if you like, you can rest it back along the bottom arm. And then we'll do a little bit of movement for the hips. So taking legs towards a 90 degree, and just take a moment to notice if that top knee is sitting a little bit behind the bottom knee, or maybe it's shifting forward slightly. And just even out the positioning so both legs are side by side, so that top knee isn't shifted back or forward. And then begin to imagine that the knees were up against a wall. And start to slide the top leg along the bottom leg. So you're sort of pushing that top knee into the wall. So there might be a gentle shifting of that top hip forward. And then slowly start to slide the top leg back. And again, start to slide forward, pushing the knee into the imaginary wall. And then start to slide the leg back. And just continue to shift back and forth. And this movement is really subtle. And so it might not really look like you're moving very much, or not at all. And just this gentle rocking back and forth with that top leg. And then coming back to center. And just take a couple of breaths here. And if the top arm was up along the ear, start to sweep it down so that it's along the bottom arm. And then with the top arm, start to sweep it up. Take it out to the side. Maybe even take your gaze to follow that top arm. And then slowly start to lift the top leg. And as you sweep the top leg out to the side, start to let the bottom leg follow. And you'll slowly make your way onto your back. And then slowly start to roll onto your other side. You can take a moment to reset your props, making any adjustments to your props or to your shape. And once again, extending the bottom arm out in front of you, taking the top arm along the bottom arm. Let's start to sweep the top arm up alongside the ear, and then start to send the top leg back. Just begin to feel that stretch all across the top side, reaching out through the fingers Extend out through that knee. And then slowly sweep the arm back down. Start to slide the top leg. Stack it onto the bottom leg. And then we'll begin to take that rocking movement. So take a moment here. Again, notice if that top leg, if the knee is shifted back or forward. And just stack the legs so the knees are even. Top arm can stay alongside the bottom, or maybe you'd like to take it alongside the ear. And then begin to imagine that wall in front of the knees. Start to slide the top leg, pushing that top knee into the imaginary wall, and then slowly let it shift back. And just continue here, gliding the top leg into the wall, and then let it slide back. So just this gentle rocking back and forth. Again, this movement doesn't have to be very big. For some, it might not even look like we're moving at all. So just this gentle gliding and sliding, pushing that top knee into the imaginary wall. And then coming back to center. If the top arm was up alongside the ear, then just slide it back down and set it along the bottom arm. Let's start to sweep the top arm up. Take it out to the side. Maybe let your gaze follow the arm. And then slowly start to sweep the top leg up. Start to roll onto your back. And with knees bent, soles of the feet on the mat, just taking this time to tune in. Noticing how you're breathing. What's the quality of your breath right now? Noticing any changes or shifts from when you first started your practice. A little bit of a body scan. Noticing all the sensations in the body. Again, noticing if anything has shifted or changed from when you first started your practice. And then setting up into your final pose. Maybe that's simply laying on the mat. Maybe you'd like to add some props into this final relaxation shape, and just adding as many props so that you can feel supported in your final relaxation pose. You can keep knees bent. You can extend them out along the mat. Use props to support the legs. And then once you've set up into your final shape, allow the body to be heavy, softening the breath, letting go of any final movements. And as you settle into stillness, begin to let go of all effort. And I will leave you here so that you can continue to rest and relax. Thank you so much for practicing with me. Wishing you a beautiful night's sleep. Peace.